Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in on this Friday, and boy, do we have breaking news for you today. Did former FBI Director James Comey threaten President Donald Trump? That's the big question. An Instagram post has White House officials suggesting that it could have been an attempt to put out a hit on the 47th president. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, appearing on Jesse Waters last night, says she isn't buying Comey's claim that he didn't know what the shell message in the sand meant. We have all the details of this breaking story for you. House Democrats are officially opening an investigation into President Trump and his administration's acceptance of the $400 million private jet from the Qatari government. And an upstate transgender teenager is facing up to 5 years in prison on accusations of threatening on social media to kill U.S. Representative Nancy Mace.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
The Secret Service is investigating ex-FBI Director James Comey, who posted on Instagram a photo of seashells arranged to show the numbers 8647. A message White House officials swiftly condemned as an attempt to put out a hit against President Donald Trump. Peter Doocy is traveling with the president in the Middle East and had this report with Laura Ingraham last night.
And Laura, the real head scratcher about this very serious topic is that James Comey wants us to believe, and we have this photo here, that he saw a cool, these are his words, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the cool shell formation, according to the person who used to be in charge of the FBI, shows shells in the shape of 8647. 86 is common restaurant lingo, of course, for denying service to somebody. But after about 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that a good chunk of people all around the world also associate 86 with meaning to kill somebody. An old mob saying, basically, you take somebody 8 miles outside of town and then you put them 6 feet in the ground. James Comey, again, a guy who has prosecuted mobsters, apparently had no idea that this was a thing. He deleted the original post with the cool shell formation, and he writes, I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, and I took the post down. That's not enough for Donald Trump Jr. He says, just James Comey casually calling for my dad to be murdered. This is who the Dem media worships. Demented. And Kash Patel, as we were coming to air, the new FBI director, one of Comey's successors, is saying that he is in touch with the Secret Service, and they are going to be sending Secret Service agents to talk to James Comey about what exactly he was getting at. Patel says, we are aware of the recent tweet by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support. This is, of course, a president who has had 2 assassination attempts on him within the last 365 days. We were with him at an airbase in Qatar this morning. He was telling the story about Butler, PA, the security footprint, especially on an international trip like this is extraordinary. We watched the president's motorcade go by our hotel earlier. It's like seeing a fast, like a sped up video of a hour-long parade. There are so many cars. There are so many threats that exist against the president of the United States coming from international actors, rogue actors. We did not think that we were going to see a former FBI director from here in Abu Dhabi suggesting something like this, but most White House officials at 3 a.m. here in Abu Dhabi appear to be asleep due to, unless they're just ignoring my text messages for some other reason. So we would expect a ton of reaction to this around sun up in 2 or 3 hours.
Well, and yes, we are getting lots of reaction today, and it's going to be interesting to watch this unfold. Comey later deleted the post after this backlash online from government officials, lawmakers, President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr. And as you know, and as Peter mentioned, President Trump has faced 2 assassination attempts in less than a year. The post included the alleged hit showed the numbers in question etched into the sand at a beach using seashells. Comey's original post said, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Now, the question also is, did someone else really take the time to put these shells in the formation of an 86 and a 47, or did Comey do it himself to get the photo? While to some people the numbers may appear innocuous, 86 is frequently used as a call sign for murdering or getting rid of someone, while, of course, 47 has been interpreted as denoting the 47th president of the United States, who is Donald Trump. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard told Jesse Waters later last night she's not buying the fact that Comey didn't know what 8647 meant. Are you ready for this? I dropped over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan. No Ozempic, no shots, no meds. Look, I refuse to rely on prescriptions for life, and you probably feel the same. Joey Hudson here. Here's what Big Pharma won't tell you. Your body already makes GLP-1. That's the hormone that fights hunger. PhD helps your body produce it naturally, faster, and without side effects. With PhD, there's no muscle loss, no rebound weight gain, and no cravings. Just real, lasting weight loss the natural way. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. It takes 5 minutes and shows what's really happening inside your body. You'll walk out knowing how to flip your fat-burning switch. No shots needed. Don't trade your health for a quick fix. You can do this without Big Pharma and without the drugs. Plus 15% off when you fully commit to your program and the PhD Get Results Guarantee. Call now 864-644-1900. Start today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. On the text line, some of you are sounding off on this whole Comey story. You're not buying it. Texter says, "Hey, Joey, Jennifer, 8647, question mark, exclamation. A former director of the FBI posts online 8647, a blatant call for a hit on our president and claims not to know what it meant. This is the last straw for Comey." Jennifer, you're right. It's hard to believe, as Tulsi Gabbard said. Hard to believe that this man who investigated criminals, who investigated the mob, and this is a mob reference. 86, 86 means to axe somebody, take them out. No way Comey didn't know what that meant. Thanks for your text, Jennifer. Yours is welcome. You can always text me. Email me too, joeyhudson.com. Texter, this is Faye, says, "Joey, do you think Comey will be prosecuted? This is wild and dangerous." I hope he's prosecuted. It's going to be interesting to see. Here's what I want to know. And I mentioned this earlier. I'll repeat myself. I want to know who really put the shells in the sand, because I don't believe for 1 minute that James Comey was just having a leisurely walk on the beach and happened to look down and there's some shells that had 86-47. I don't believe it. I think he did it. I think he or someone he knows arranged the shells so he could take the photo and post it. Thought it was funny. Thought it was cute. Ray writes on the text line, "Good day, Joey. What's going on with our Republican representatives and senators? Start with the Senate. Both of our senators voted against the DOGE bill. Do they get enough kickback to fail all of the voters? Why has Congress only sent 6 bills to the president's desk? It feels like they're afraid of being in the majority. Can we find out how each rep votes on these key issues? It seems like they are helping the left retake control of our government. We won in 2024. Why can't we do what the voters sent to do in D.C.? Why can't they do what the voters sent them to do in D.C.? If we don't get rid of the rhinos, our country will become Cuba. You can go online, Ray, and see how all your representatives voted. Texter Tony says, Joey, what is it with these rhinos again? And U.S. aid. 26 rhinos going against Doge. Now Ron Paul speaking about Trump taking a plane. We got to get real conservatives to primary them. Dan says, so Joey, if they know the illegals that were given a Social Security number, they need to look up the tax filings for each one of those and see if they were pay credits for all their children. I'm sure that the government has paid out a large amount of money for child tax credits and things that such would be good if they would figure this out and then go after these people and try to get the money back or take whatever they have to pay back the credit. Dan, that's logical. It's common sense. You and I both know it's not going to happen. They're not going to take money from these illegals. I guess the best we could come out on this is if they go back to where they came from. Albert, good morning, Joey. In reference to the Disney World discussion this week, I was wondering if Disney forced this gentleman to take his family to the theme park. Now, earlier this week, I think it was maybe Wednesday, I told you the story, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek from this guy. He did a video. He took his family to Disney in Orlando, cost like $1,400 for the day, and he was complaining because they only got to do a few rides because the lines were long and they couldn't get in to do what they wanted to do. And he was complaining in this video, and it went viral. Millions of people watched the video, including me. And I shared some of it with you, that it was a ripoff. He felt it was a ripoff, and he won't be going back to Disney. So Albert is taking issue with that. He says, if I was a betting person, I would say, no, they didn't. He knew what he was doing and decided beforehand that it was worth the money, or his plan was to belittle Disney in hope of some future notoriety or free tickets. If you think that a trip to Disney is too expensive, don't go. I took my family there 36 years ago and decided not to ever go back. I didn't belittle Disney. They provided as advertised. I just decided that my money would be better spent elsewhere. Albert, you got a point there. And I agree. The U.S. Supreme Court appeared divided yesterday in a pivotal case that pits President Trump, his executive order to end birthright citizenship, against longstanding constitutional precedent and the judiciary's authority to issue nationwide injunctions. Now, we've talked about these injunctions quite a bit this year in the last couple of months because these district judges have gone crazy trying to stop President Trump from doing, as one of the texters a minute ago said, what we sent him to Washington to do. So Trump's executive order, signed on Inauguration Day, one of the first, aims to deny automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. if their parents are in the country illegally or on temporary visas, directly challenging the 14th Amendment. The Trump administration is urging the court to rein in the power of lower federal courts also to block policies nationally, arguing that these injunctions exceed their Article 3 authority. So here's some takeaways from the oral arguments that we heard this week. Justices across the ideological spectrum raised issues about the chaos that could result from what they called a patchwork of rulings across states. Justice Kagan warned of legal fragmentation. Justice Gorsuch also expressed concern about delays in class action relief. Now, some of the liberal justices, like Justice Sotomayor, stressed that the Supreme Court has upheld birthright citizenship since U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark, 1898. Ending it could render thousands of children stateless, she warned. Justices Thomas and Alito showed openness to curbing nationwide injunctions. Thomas questioned their historical legitimacy, while Alito criticized overreach by lower court judges. Now, the issue of federal versus state uniformity. New Jersey Solicitor General Jeremy Feigenbaum and others argued the Constitution demands uniform citizenship standards nationwide. Allowing them to vary by state could have catastrophic legal and social implications, he said. And as far as enforcement, Justice's press solicitor general, John Sauer, on how the federal government would implement and enforce such a rule at birth. He admitted hospitals would not verify citizenship. The government would figure it out, he said, later, raising some logistical red flags. These are just some of the highlights, I guess you could say, during the oral arguments. The Trump administration argues that the 14th Amendment was meant only for newly freed slaves, not illegal immigrants or temporary residents. Trump also contends that nationwide injunctions have unfairly blocked his agenda, which they have. I'd love to get your feeling, though, on the on birthright citizenship. Is Trump right? Was the 14th Amendment not meant for illegal immigrants or temporary residents? You can email me, joey@joeyhudson.com, text me. Now, if the court invalidates nationwide injunctions, the argument is that it could empower presidents, Trump included, to roll out sweeping executive actions with fewer legal obstacles. If it upholds Trump's citizenship order, on the other hand, too, it would end a 125-year precedent and potentially strip citizenship from over 250,000 newborns per year. Again, was it intended to be so broad? Was it intended for if someone comes into our country illegally, in some cases, just to have their baby? Was that what it was meant to be? A decision is expected probably before the court recesses in late June or early July. And look, bottom line here, the case is about more than just who gets to be a U.S. citizen. It's about the limits of executive power and the reach of federal courts and the durability of constitutional standards that have long defined American identity. The ruling could mark one of the most consequential rulings this year. And I'm not just saying that. A lot of legal scholars are watching this one closely because it could have huge ramifications on two fronts. Obviously, on the front of birthright citizenship, it could change the way things have been done for 125 years. Honestly, I'm inclined to lean in that direction because I don't think a young lady should be allowed to slip into our country, have a baby, and that baby is afforded all the rights of a U.S. citizen. But I don't know. You tell me. Really, I'd love to get your feedback on this one. joeyhudson.com. Now, as far as the judges, that's an easy one. These judges are way out of hand. And we've got to find a way to get some control over these district judges. And I don't think a district judge in Washington State should be allowed to dictate what I do in the Southeast United States. Shouldn't be allowed to dictate what the entire nation does. And hopefully the Supreme Court is going to end that in just a matter of a month or so. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Samuel Theodore Kane, a 19-year-old from Greenville, South Carolina, is facing up to 5 years in prison for allegedly threatening to assassinate U.S. Representative Nancy Mace on social media. Now, Kane, who identifies online as transgender under the name of Roxy Wolf and uses she, her pronouns, was arrested yesterday by state law enforcement division agents. Although the arrest warrant did not initially name the victim, Mace confirmed on social media that she was the target of the April 26th threat posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, of course. Kane allegedly wrote, "I'm going to assassinate Representative Nancy Mace with a gun, and I'm being 100% dead, according to unredacted repost of the deleted tweet. Kane admitted to authoring and posting the threat when interviewed by federal agents 4 days later, according to SLED. The arrest warrant identifies Kane as a white male, though Kane has publicly identified as a transgender girl. Mace thanked Capitol Police and SLED for the arrest, labeling Cain a trans activist and using the incident to highlight what she believes is an increasingly militant transgender movement, saying the radical trans movement is no longer just about pronouns. It's about silencing anyone who dares to speak the truth. The threat followed a heated interaction between Mace and a transgender student at the University of South Carolina, where Mace refused to apologize for using the slur tranny and repeated it multiple times. I mean, telling Nancy Mace not to say something, you know she's going to say it. I mean, that's like telling a child not to do something. And look, it's her right. That, you know, she can certainly do that. But these people should learn, these activists should learn that when you try to get in her face and try to tell her not to do something, she's going to do it. According to the South Carolina Daily Gazette, Cain is currently held at the Greenville County Jail pending a bond hearing, and there's no confirmation of legal representation. We shall see. It's official. The House Democrats are opening an investigation into President Donald Trump and his administration's acceptance of the $400 million private jet from the Qatari government that we've talked about this week. Representative Jamie Raskin, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, led his fellow Democrats on the panel in a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi and White House counsel David Warrington yesterday. They've been saying all week they were going to do this, and they did. It's officially an investigation now, according to them. They're specifically asking Attorney General Bondi to hand over a reported legal memo that she wrote that is meant to assert the legality of Trump accepting the plane on behalf of the U.S. Now, Raskin and other Judiciary Committee Democrats went so far as to accuse Trump or people in his orbit of soliciting a bribe from this foreign country. The Democrats said in their statement, citing Trump's own comments, President Trump's statements expressing displeasure with delays in the delivery of his new Boeing aircraft to serve as Air Force One and the timing of this, quote, gift suggests that President Trump or a member of his administration may have improperly solicited this nice gesture from the Qatari government. The fact that, according to President Trump, the plane would not remain in service to the United States, but would rather be donated to his presidential library after his term concludes, further raises the possibility that this, quote, nice gesture is intended as a bribe to Donald Trump. Multiple news outlets reported that the Attorney General and Mr. Warrington drafted a legal memo that said it was legally permissible for Trump to accept the plane and then have it transferred to his presidential library once he leaves office. Now, a source familiar with the discussions said that the memo was drafted by the Office of Legal Counsel and signed by Attorney General Bondi. Democrats suggest the memo was likely not sufficient grounds for Trump to bypass Congress on this issue and pointed out that Bondi herself had previously lobbied on Qatar's behalf. The letter said the Constitution is clear. Congress, not the Attorney General or the White House counsel, has the exclusive authority to approve or reject a gift of any kind whatsoever given to the president by a foreign government. Now, when reached for comment on the matter, a source close to Ms. Bondi said only that the letter was received by the Department of Justice. Not going to comment on what they're going to do with it. In addition to looking for the memo itself, the Democrat letter also asked for any communications, other records regarding the Boeing plane's transfer, and discussions of the gift's legal justifications. They want everything. They want all notes of anyone who had anything to do with this decision. Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee, of course, have little authority to compel Trump administration officials to comply. They are the minority party. So it's not like they can subpoena, they can demand a hearing of any type. They can ask for it. But I doubt that the GOP majority is going to go along with it. Raskin, as you know, hates Donald Trump. He's been scrutinizing Trump and his inner circle over family foreign ties since the former president's first term. He's not letting up. Trump has defended his acceptance of the plane on a number of occasions this week. By the way, that plane got the discussion going about this huge Boeing order that Qatari Airlines placed. What was it, $96 billion? That's going to very much help the Boeing South Carolina plant. That's going to have a direct impact on the economy in the Palmetto State. Trump wrote on Truth Social this week, so the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge, all caps, of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily in a very public and transparent transaction so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers, he wrote. Senate Republicans said they knew little about this transaction when asked about it earlier in the week. Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson kind of avoided the issue during his weekly press conference. Johnson told reporters, "I'm not following all the twists and turns of the charter jet. My understanding is it's not a personal gift for the President of the United States, and other nations give us gifts all the time. But I'm going to leave it to the administration. They know much more about the details." Yeah, that is basically saying, nope, not going to get involved in that. By the way, while these Democrats are wanting to investigate the president, others are praising him for what he's done in the Middle East this week. Former top officials in the Biden administration admitted that they were impressed by what President Trump has done. They even said it was bold moves this week during his historic tour in the Middle East and some of the deals that he's been able to broker while over there. Look, if we try to understand the Democrats, we'll all go crazy, right? Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. Joining us on our guest line, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. I hope you're doing good, too.
I am doing wonderful. Boy, some big news for South Carolina this week. 130 South Carolina-built 787s made in Charleston by Qatar Airways. Worth about $96 billion, they say. That is big news.
Oh, my goodness. The president is making deals, isn't he? Like you've never seen. And good for South Carolina. The president has always been good to South Carolina. So it has just been great seeing him. But you know what's almost as good, Joey, is the meltdown from the Dems. Heaven help this president, help America and American jobs. That is the total sentiment. Like, they couldn't do a deal if it was wrapped up in a package and sent to them, and they can't stand that this president is out there projecting strength, trying to make peace across the globe, and really getting the job done for American businesses and American workers. So I say keep putting them on TV. It just gives us the energy to keep going, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's just the craziest thing. So, they've been standing on their head about this airplane that could potentially be a temporary Air Force One. worth about $400 million, and he comes up with a $1 billion deal for Boeing to manufacture planes here in the U.S.
Well, Joey, it was interesting. Somebody said to me, why is he taking a plane from them? And I'm like, he's not. And it's crazy how the Dems have been saying he's taking a plane so he has it for himself after.
Yeah.
It's like, that is the biggest lie. And if I came to your house and you gave me a gift and I just said, no, I don't want that, would you not be offended? And now you're talking about a country that is completely run on kind of this notion of, formality, right? So you want him to go like Biden did and knuckle bump and act unpresidential? I mean, this is like a gift that he's accepted on behalf of the American people.
Yeah. Well, as usual, the Democrats just always like to take just a little bit of information and spin it into all these different stories, and we shall see. We shall see. Well, it was also a big week in South Carolina for life, with the South Carolina Supreme Court ruling that abortion restrictions apply when electrical impulses are first detected by diagnostic medical equipment, which generally is around 6 weeks. So Planned Parenthood was not successful in overturning the fetal heartbeat bill passed in 2023. Thank goodness this is finally resolved, I hope.
Oh my goodness. I don't think that these things ever get resolved. They will try to find another angle. I'm very proud, and we put that out yesterday because we were happy. I was very proud of our attorneys in the governor's office. They fought this. They wrote a big portion of that brief. They knew that the governor and I wanted to see this thing put to bed and make 6 weeks the law of the land here in South Carolina and stop it was kind of hanging in the shadows, right? Everybody hoping that nothing would go wrong. And so I feel like we are a good day. We are now protecting life with, like I said, no gloomy shadows hanging over us. So really proud of the hard work of everybody sticking together. And thank you to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
I think we have a Supreme Court that is now really dealing in the Constitution and the law. And I've always said when I testified for the heartbeat bill in the House and in the Senate, the one thing I said is heartbeat. That is the test when we leave this earth, right?
Right.
What does a doctor or nurse do? They listen for your heartbeat. When your heartbeat is gone, you're gone. You've gone home. Why would that not be the test to begin life? If it's the test to end life, it just makes common sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the key there, common sense. Planned Parenthood and the Democrats, they don't know anything about common sense. I read this week, and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't have the exact numbers, but Planned Parenthood had issued their annual report, and I think this was for 2022, 2023. It was about a year to 2 years old, but I was just astounded by the numbers. I mean, first off, they're $1 billion business. I never realized that. Yeah. $1 billion business, a nonprofit, and over 400,000 abortions. It's just crazy.
It's so sad to me, Joey. And, this is why they fight so hard.
Yep.
Because this is a machine for them. And something interesting that I just learned a few days ago that I didn't know, not only do they perform abortions while they're trying to pretend that all they're giving is women's services,
yep,
but they are now distributing on some level, I don't know the extent, gender-altering drugs. Now, they're not doing it to children, obviously, but I didn't realize that they were playing in that game too, but they are.
Yeah, that falls under their health care services. Yes.
Well, maybe mental health should fall under their health care services.
There you go. There you go. Yes.
Maybe if they really wanted to help people, they would help us in our fight to create a better mental health-driven medical system
Yeah.
where we could really help people that are or have issues like this.
Yep. Well, it's kudos to the South Carolina Supreme Court. At least we know what we can do, that we can protect life here in the Palmetto State. And finally, this is National Police Week. Events all across the country and across South Carolina honoring and remembering those officers who have given their life in the line of duty.
Well, I'm trying to put stuff out every day so people see. I know we put a couple things out this week, but I mean, when you see our law enforcement out there, thank them for the sacrifices that they make and their family makes. I mean, I can't even imagine. I say this all the time. When I speak to law enforcement, I just say thank you, right? Because I don't have any idea the issues they face or their family waking up every day, putting on that jacket, putting on that gun, going out there, not knowing what they'll face that day. So if you see any of our wonderful law enforcement, buy them their cup of coffee, buy them their lunch. We can't say thank you enough to them for all the things they do. And you talk about a tough job, from being a mental health worker to being a peace officer, to being the one person everybody runs to no matter what their problem is. And for the men and women who run towards danger when we're running away from it, we just cannot be grateful enough for what they do.
That is for sure. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott, always a pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
I have a wonderful day too, Joey.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.